Welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
What a humdinger of a show!
Jumpy, beep, beep! Booty-O's!
They make sure you ain't booty!
I got the gift of gab and the gift of jab, and I'll put that lazy eye right back to work.
I'm not a bad guy. I'm not a good guy. I'm the guy.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. The wrestling podcast will review Monday Night Raw and give all of you beautiful people the wrestling news of the week. This voice coming to you right now via the YouTube format is Turbo Tony. Yes, I know you need it. Your weekly dose of Turbo Tony goodness. However, I don't have my usual person with me this week. No. Matt has decided to take a sabbatical. He has gone flying away, so he doesn't have to deal with a bad week of Raw. He picked a good week. He's gone off camping, I believe. I like to think that maybe he's on some sort of pilgrimage trying to find his inner wrestling soul so he can give it to you. But guys, I have found someone that can help me this week. That can help me because I don't like podcasting on my own, not in these long episodes. I need someone to bounce off of. And I searched high and low. I went high above the Himalayan mountains. I searched across the seas. I needed to find someone and I couldn't find anyone.
You're a dick.
Behind every great man, there is a woman who deals with his podcast greatness, and that is Stacey Shalimar. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. People may not know this. This is the first time you've been on the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast.
I think it has. Yeah.
No, it's not the first time. You've been on once before, very early on, like in the first 20 episodes or something. We did like a mini thing. Do you remember back then?
It was very, very mini. It was like
2 years ago.
It was just discussion.
Yeah.
It wasn't even about a show.
Yeah. Let's give a little bit of introduction about who you are for people who don't know. Loads of people were leaving you birthday messages a couple of weeks ago. That's the first hint. The second of which is you live in the same house as me. So
Yeah.
You're my wife.
I'm Mrs. Turbo Tony.
Mrs. Turbo Tony.
Yeah.
Here on the show. And the reason I asked you to be here is because you are my general wrestling fan source of information. So when I want to know how something affects not just like me as a hardcore wrestling fan, but as someone who barely watches the show, I go to you, right? And ask your opinion.
Yeah.
And for the first time in a while, probably like a year and a half, you watched Raw all the way through this week, didn't you?
It was extremely difficult.
We went the whole 3 hours, and Stacey's got her thoughts, she's got her notes, and we're going to give that our ideas and thoughts. And we've got all the other segments here for you there this week. Of course, I'll tell everyone, as you're not regular on the show, I'll tell everyone what we're going to do. We've got our news, which we'll go through. We've got our fan feedback, which I'll be answering questions, and maybe Stacey can give her thoughts there as well. We do have Stacey's super sexy but amazingly difficult, awesome challenge. Oh, yes.
It better be easy.
You think that you got away with trivia. No. Not here on this show.
It better be easy.
Well, I've given you multiple choice questions to help you out a little bit, all right? All right.
Okay.
And of course, we've got our Raw review and then Extreme Rules predictions to be thinking about who's going to be winning at this weekend's pay-per-view. And Matt will be back hosting the podcast. Yeah, he will actually, for the pay-per-view review next week. So that's when you'll get your next dose of Matt Marcel.
Once he gets his Bear Grylls on.
Yeah, I like to think that he's shitting in like a hole somewhere right now.
Yeah. Rubbing his arse with a rabbit.
Yeah.
Drinking his own weed.
I'm Matt Marcel and I'm going to drink my own pee. Brilliant. All right, let's do our plugs. Of course, if you'd like to interact with us, the main way of doing so is our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. Normally, it would be Matt who drops the Twitter handle. Now that falls to you. Drop that Twitter handle.
@Talk Wrestling Pod.
That's
No.
not what it says on my notes. Do you want to give it a look at?
Oh, Talk Wrestle Pod.
There you go. There you go. You're not around all the time. Matt's a proven
I
commodity.
hear you say this so much.
And of course, if you want to send us any emails or audio questions, you can send it to Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, you got a lot of emails last week, didn't you?
You sent me emails fucking with me. All right. So before we get into the talking of the wrestling, we do a bit of procrastination. I like to procrastinate. You do like to procrastinate. You are the queen of procrastination.
I am. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much. You were watching something this week.
Sisters.
Yeah. That had a certain John Cena.
He was amazing. He was like this epic drug dealer with these tattoos, and he just didn't talk. And when he did talk, it was just random drug paraphernalia would come out of his mouth. It was hilarious. It really was. Tina Fey kept trying to jump his bones, and he was just having none of it.
I wouldn't mind jumping Tina Fey's bones personally. She's quite good looking in that movie.
Oh, she looks really good in that movie.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Stacey's going off to get a drink now. You can probably hear it, by the way. The reason why you're probably hearing us really loudly is I've got like the mic set up to be very sensitive, so you can hear every single movement because we're sitting next to each other. But still.
Yeah, I've warned Turney not to fart.
Yeah, because you will hear it. Still. Anything else you've been up to this week in general?
No, just been pretty much enjoying a week.
Enjoying our child that they probably can hear in the background right now.
Yeah, that's the littlest person who is the next Ronda Rousey. She's up there just plotting her world domination.
Yeah. And not going to sleep when she's told.
Yeah, or shitting in her pants.
Yeah, so either or. It's the way it is.
That's what I've done with my week.
Well, I haven't got much to procrastinate about because I've been trying to get this episode done so early and obviously trying to map things around, get things ready for Matt not being here.
Just Matt doing Matt things.
Matt doing Matt things, of course. Then that's basically what it's been. But apart from that, obviously, we've had a busy week in pro wrestling. It's the lead up to Extreme Rules. We'd like to procrastinate all day long, but the matter of the fact is that we do need to get into the wrestling talk. So are you actually ready for that now?
Oh, I don't know. It was really difficult. I'll try. Can we have, like, place cards or something?
We don't. The Raw Review is the Raw Review is the last thing that we do. We've got loads of fun stuff before we get there, okay? So let's get into the news this week. The really news that sucked this week is that Emma is out with a back injury. Now, obviously, this is a shame for her. She was in the midst of a rivalry with Becky Lynch. She started to get a foothold on the main roster after having such a problem when she first got there. Her gal Dana Brooke had just made an appearance, and Dana Brooke isn't good enough to carry the torch by herself. Obviously, we're going to get into that a little bit later in the Raw Review. Yeah. But what I feel is really bad for Emma because clearly she's had the surgery's been successful. But the problem is that whenever it seems to be a point where she seems to really start getting some traction with her career, at very least on the main roster, there's always something that happens that ends up getting in her way. The first time it was the shoplifting scandal that happened. You're looking at me blankly. She forgot that she had like an iPhone case in her bag, left the shop, and was booked for it. So that basically sunk her on her first run.
She did the Winona Ryder.
She did the Winona Ryder, right? And then obviously she went to NXT. She built herself back up. She's now on the main roster, and then back injury puts her out for what I'm guessing. I mean, back injuries can be quite awkward, so she could be out at very least. I'm thinking like 4 or 5 months at least.
Longer. I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, not everyone's John Cena that can like half their recovery time. He's a machine. I just feel really sorry for her because this is a thing where she's one of the better wrestlers that they've got on the roster, just without even question. She's fantastic. It just never seems to work with her on that main roster. Every single time she tries to, she seems to get like a break. Then something happens, and it's a real shame. And it's even more of a shame that you think that probably that run that was planned for her is now probably going to go on to Dana Brooke.
I don't like her.
Yeah. We'll get into our thoughts about that now. I've already said before that I don't think Dana Brooke is ready for the main roster. She needs another 18 months at least in NXT, whereas Emma was ready. She was ready the first run that she got.
Yeah.
She's clearly one of the best in-ring talents that they've got in the women's division. And that's what makes it even more of a disastrous thing. That's what makes it suck even more. So I hope she comes back. And I do hope that she gets that run on the main roster that her skills deserve. But it's, I tell you what, when you think of someone that might be cursed and just not going to get that shot, you know, a lot of people get, unless you're Epico and Primo, the shining stars, of course, of the Caribbean, you don't normally get 3 shots on the main roster. So we'll have to see how it goes.
She just needs to take her time and just let it rest, let it recuperate. Don't push yourself to come back, and hopefully next time she'll get a good run.
Yeah. Well, that's the hope anyway. It's all down to whether or not the stars align, because she's not established yet on the main roster. I think that she's safe in terms of, people might ask, is her job safe? I think that she's always got NXT to fall back on, and she's always got new girls there to work with. So I think that she's going to be okay in that sense. It would suck a lot if, like, let's say 6 months down the line, Dana Brooke is on a pretty decent spot on the main roster, and they send Emma back down. That would be awful. I don't think that'll happen, but that would be awful anyway. Oh dear. Now, Matt's not around this week.
Okay.
He's been around to listen to me rant about a certain company called TNA.
You think he's the only person to listen to your rant?
Yeah, I just ran
I
about.
can hear you all over the house. And you repeat the podcast throughout the week, because I hear that too.
Well, the thing that annoys me about them is this specific issue that they have.
I have a question for you.
Okay, go on.
Do you like anything about TNA?
I like some of the wrestlers they have.
Okay.
But that's about
I've never heard you say anything good.
No. I have to say, like, my experience with TNA is that I started watching it regularly. If you remember, I started watching it regularly. I watched the worst 2 months of pro wrestling in that 2 months. I'm not going to say that's indicative of how TNA always is. It certainly was in those 2 months some of the worst, like, television that I
remember
had
you watching it.
It was that bad that it just made me stop it. I wanted to keep it going for the show.
I remember you screaming into a pillow.
Yeah. On more than one occasion. So here's the thing. Listen, all that stuff, I don't care. If they can carry on doing their thing and having a show that I don't like, fair enough. There is an audience for it. However, there is no room for what they do, and they do this a lot, which is they're behind on paying their production workers again. Now, you remember, this isn't the first time that this happened. If you remember, they were behind on their production workers. They tried to do a strike or something along those lines, and they brought in people to shut them down, which is essentially what happened. And I hate talking about this sort of stuff, but TNA constantly have trouble. It seems like they're always never far away from rumors of not paying their talent on time, and even more rumors come out that they never pay their production workers on time. These are guys that have to feed their families, right, and pay their mortgages and put food on their plates. So I don't have any space for them when it comes to this. You know,
there's no security.
I know they're having troubles, right? I know financially they're not doing great. I know that in terms of ratings, it just keeps getting worse for them. But you have to pay the people that set up your show. Without them, you don't have a show. The wrestlers ain't going to set it up, right?
You have to know when to stop.
You think TNA should just stop?
With all these problems and all this money issues, I mean, who can live their lives with a job that you don't know if you're going to get a paycheck?
Yeah.
You know, like the Dudleys left TNA and went to WWE. Can you imagine? They feel like they're in paradise. They're getting paid on time. The production workers are paid on time. They probably have good employee rights.
They're probably getting paid a bit more as well along those lines.
Health benefits, everything.
Yeah. Now, obviously, TNA along those lines.
Somebody's going to get injured.
People already have, love. There's a guy called Jesse Sorensen who broke his neck with TNA. It's a long story. I don't really want to get into it here. And listen, I don't want to get into much into that because then we're getting into muddy territory that I'm not willing to get into now. And then we're getting away from the actual story here. But listen, some of these reports are stating that some of these late payments go far as back as January. We're in May. We're almost at the end of May. Late payments as far back as January. If I was working for TNA as a production worker, I mean, I know it's hard because maybe you're not getting work in other companies because they're not looking for it, or maybe this line of work. But that's the point where you have to draw the line and say, look, I'm not even getting paid for this work anyway, right?
Yeah.
So the way that TNA treats their employees and some of their talent is disgraceful. I've talked about the story of Tyrus and the whole thing about him not being allowed to go wrestle for other companies, and Jeff Jarrett comes in, who owns another company and works with them, and he's like, I couldn't even work for Jeff Jarrett's company, yet Jeff Jarrett can come here and work. It's all ridiculous. I don't want to get into too much because I'm sure TNA fans are probably sick of me ragging on the company. It's just when they go like this and you hear stories about them not paying their production workers on time, that's just disgraceful. That's just bad management. And I will continue to rag on them on that front alone.
Yeah.
You know, I've kind of given them a pass when it comes to their content and how they produce their show because I just don't watch it. They still pay their wrestlers, and I don't want them to be out of jobs if TNA goes away. But when it comes to this, that's when I've got to bring it up and talk about it there. But it is deplorable at the end of the day.
Well, it's not unheard of for companies to pay, we say get 2 months in arrears, and pay them, but 5 months is ridiculous.
Yeah. That is taking the piss a bit.
Yeah.
And I know they've moved their base of operations recently, but still, that's no reason that they come out with excuses like this all the time of we're moving here or our accounts are moving. That's why they're late. 5 months late is not acceptable. No excuse.
But if they can't pay a 1 month paycheck, they're not going to be able to pay a 5 month paycheck.
I think they will get paid eventually. I just think it's they're being the way that they're managed is just so fucking poor.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that TNA does it. That's the way that, unfortunately, bad management follows them like a bad smell. So that's unfortunate. Now, that's all the news this week. We are recording a little bit earlier in the week, and there wasn't anything else interesting that popped up on the news feed. As of always, if you guys have any news stories that you'd like us to cover next week, leaving them in the comments section below, and we will catch that next week, and we'll go over it and do our research and get our thoughts in general.
And by then, your soulmate will be back.
He will be.
I know you miss him.
All right. So we've got some fan feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Fan questions this week. We've got some humdinger questions. And we'll start off with Anthony Smash, who asks us, who are our guilty pleasure wrestlers? Can you think of anyone on the top of your head? Guilty pleasure wrestler.
What do you mean?
So someone that you like that really you shouldn't like.
Oh.
So like maybe I picked someone that I thought you would have picked, which is Santina. Santina Morella.
I loved Santina. Oh, she was amazing. She made me laugh so much.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't feel guilty about liking her. I thought she was amazing.
You should feel a little bit guilty. I was a little bit.
I have no shame.
Yeah. One group that I really thought was really funny was the whole Billy and Chuck thing. Do you remember them?
No.
They were the ones that basically they came out. They were very homoerotic.
Oh.
They came out with like the pink stuff and the blonde hair, like the bleach blonde hair. They used to come out and have like Rico, their stylist and everything. Everyone naturally assumed that they were a gay tag team. But then they did like a marriage thing on like SmackDown. And it basically was a publicity stunt. They weren't gay. They said to me, look, we're not gay. Like, we just really like each other. Like, we're buddies, we're bros. And I thought it was hilarious. I know obviously a lot of people get offended by that because like they were basically playing off the whole are they gay, are they not gay sort of thing. I thought it was fucking great. And I thought it was hilarious. I love that their entrance music is some of the best entrance music because it really fit in. Like, the entrance music is like, you're so good to me. It's like, oh, God.
Just so you all know, Tony is touching himself.
I am touching myself. I'm doing the dance.
It's quite something to see.
But, yeah, I'm sure that if Matt was here, he would probably say someone like Eugene. For some reason, he loves Eugene.
Really?
Yeah. And, like, he's really offensive. Like, he's basically offensive to anyone that has any sort of mental, like, illness, right?
Yeah, I spent a really long time thinking he had one. And it was very confusing. Like
he was, I don't know how to explain. Matt liked him. Matt liked him. Then we'll leave it at that. Billy McGee asks, what will be the main event of WrestleMania 33? Now, you got a response to this on the comment by BX Girl, and I think she's right. I think that we're going to see a Shield triple threat match. I thought there was a chance that you might have got that last WrestleMania, months before that happened, before we started realizing what the lay of the land was with that. I think that Shield triple threat match, if it doesn't happen like next year, I think it's going to happen. It's inevitable. They're going to play off of it. One thing I will say, though, if that match doesn't happen, I can guarantee all of you now that Roman Reigns will be in the main event.
Yeah, I can see that.
They may even do a Cena versus Reigns passing of the torch, but that's such a problematic match to make.
Both of them are going to win. Like,
Not only that, right? It's that like people love shitting on John Cena. People fucking adore shitting on Roman Reigns at the moment.
I'd like to take shit on Roman Reigns.
For a different reason, yeah. For a different reason. That's a soundbite if I ever heard one.
This is why you invited me on the show.
Yeah. It's one of those it's one of those main events that could get badly received, right? At WrestleMania. That being said, it still probably wouldn't be as awkward as WrestleMania this year with Roman winning the title and getting booed so badly that WWE trying to like mute the boos from the crowd. So, but yeah, I think regardless of what happens, Roman Reigns in there. And the reason being for that is, look at John Cena. When they were giving Cena the push, man, he main evented like 5 WrestleManias back to back. Like he just went non-stop, title match after title match after title match after title match. They're going to try and establish Reigns as a top guy, so therefore they're going to put him in all those main events. So if you're sick of seeing Roman Reigns in the main event of Mania, it's not over. I think you're going to get like another 3 before this is over, honestly. And we've had 2 from him, right? The Brock Lesnar match. We've had the one where we won against Triple H, which was a complete dud. I think you're going to get at least another 3 before they start mixing shit up. So, or an injury, obviously an injury or something along those lines might change things from there on out. Cameron Hutton asks, do we think that WWE should get rid of one of the mid-tier titles, and what title should stay, or create a new title with a new name to maybe take their place? And this is obviously just to give a bit of background here. Obviously, they've got the United States Championship and the IC Championship. They're basically the same level championship, which is just below the World Championship, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm under the assumption, I wonder what you think about this. This is really interesting because me and Matt differ. He thinks that they should have both titles. I think that they should get rid of one of them. And the reason I've said that before is because I believe that WWE can't book 2 mid-tier belts at a decent level.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, we're seeing Kalisto now as the United States champion. He's been put on a lot of pre-show matches. Like, there's nowhere the same as when John Cena had that belt last year and he was defending it every single week and it was like a mainstay of the show.
Yeah.
So I just don't think they can keep it up with both belts, personally. So if I was going to get rid of one of the mid-tier belts, it probably would be the United States Championship, and I'd keep the IC. And it's not because of the way things are now. It's because the Intercontinental Championship has been with WWE all along, right? That was their title. The US title was WCW's. So when they overtook WCW, they took that belt and made it one of their own, right? And the IC title, in WWE at least, I know the United States Championship may have more prestige. It may go back further. But
patriotic as well.
Yeah, but the IC title is longer in WWE. It's further ingrained in the company. So that's what I would keep. What would you keep would you keep both of them? What would you do?
I'd definitely get rid of one. I don't know which one I'd keep though. If they kept the IC title, they'd probably do a rebrand or something.
They just kind of recently got over a rebrand of it. Well, I say that Cody Rhodes back before he was Stardust. That's when he did the rebranding of it. But I don't know. It's all good.
Because like the United States Championship is quite patriotic. It's, in their homeland and everything. And it's,
They don't play that up enough. I think the last time they did that, funny enough, Rusev, who's wrestling for it, we're going to give our thoughts on that. Rusev was the last guy that him winning the belt was like a genuine insult because he was bashing America. And I think, honestly, you couldn't do that same sort of thing with the IC title belt because it is the United States Championship with a Bulgarian holding it, blasting the US. I think there's a lot of applications you can do with that title. So I do get that. But personally, I'd go for the IC title just because it's longer ingrained in the company. But that's just me. However, this may go back on some things that I've said before because I've been constantly against them making a new championship. And in being more specific, I've been very against them making the Cruiserweights Championship. I'm going to say, okay, let's do it. Let's make the Cruiserweight Championship, but make it specific to NXT. Yeah. Because I think NXT needs another title. I think the rosters, like they're signing new guys seemingly every single week. I think there's space for it now, right? And that cruiserweight division, you have a lot of people that are asking for it are hardcore wrestling fans because they loved how it used to be back in WCW, and maybe sometimes they did it in WWE. It works with like Rey Mysterio doing that sort of thing. And they should look at some of the success of Lucha Underground, who basically all it is like, bar some matches like Mil Muertes and Matanza, which are basically two over 300-pound guys. The majority of it is cruiserweights, right? Plying their trade.
Yeah.
There's clearly demand for that style of wrestling. So why not give that to the people that would... I think that putting on NXT, it would give it to the correct crowd. That's what I'm saying. Like, as a general fan, how much are you into cruiserweight wrestling?
I have no idea.
So I'm talking about the Rey Mysterios and the Nevilles and that sort of thing. Or does it not really bother you too much?
It doesn't bother me that much. But I suppose a good way to trial the belt is to put it in NXT and see how it takes off.
Yeah.
You know? And I suppose it is good to have something like that. I don't remember it in my years watching it before.
The WWE, because you only watched WWE, and they didn't treat it that well. I have to be honest. It was WCW's where the Cruiserweight Championship really... Back then, that's when you had Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko fighting for it. So you're talking about two world-class athletes right there. When WWE came into it, I mean, a lot of people will probably only remember like Matt Hardy being the Cruiserweight champion, and it's just not the same. All respect to Matt Hardy, but he's not Eddie Guerrero, right? So that's just the difference of it there. But that's how I would do it. If I think there's space in NXT for a championship. I think in WWE on the main roster, I don't think as much because I just don't think they can hack it. I think they've shown that they can't hack having two mid-tier belts. They just can't do it. So just get rid of one of them and make all the focus on the single
splitting
tail.
the focus.
Yeah. Alex from Wrestling Boom asks our thoughts on Samoa Joe and Austin Aries being in NXT despite having over 12 years of wrestling experience apiece. Also, when they do get called up, how would we book them? So here's the thing about that. There's a change in NXT at the moment. I don't think the fans have caught up to what it is. NXT, in my opinion, is no longer a developmental brand, which is what it was all along, right?
Yeah.
When you sign the likes of Finn Balor and Austin Aries, Samoa Joe, they just brought in Eric Young and Bobby Roode from TNA. These are all guys that have lengthy wrestling experience. They don't need development. They're developed, right? They're already there. And the reason why they're not being put onto the main roster is because WWE doesn't see NXT as a developmental brand now. NXT tours, right?
Yeah, it does.
It goes on tour now, right? And it's not just the going over to London or anything like that, which I have done. They do live shows across the US, right? They don't do many, but they still do it, right? It's still a touring brand for them now. So the way that WWE are probably looking at it is that Joe and Aries draw a far more hardcore wrestling-based crowd, and that's the crowd that NXT tries to appease. That's the one that they're going for. That's their demographic. So, in my opinion, think of it this way. NXT isn't a developmental brand anymore. It's WWE's indie brand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? That's where they can challenge the indie scene because, there they can pick the talent from the indie scenes. They can fight them on their front because Raw is always going to try and get the global audience. Yeah, they're not going to get the indie audience doing what they're doing on the main roster, and nor should they, because they're trying to go for the 3.5 million fans, not the 200,000 fans, right? That would be interested in indies, right? In indie shows. So this is WWE's way of combating that and trying to get a slice of that pie as well. I mean, they're greedy, and it's WWE. They didn't get anywhere. Vince McMahon didn't take over wrestling in the US by
asking nicely,
right? He went out and bought out the TV times and threw a lot of money around and threw his weight around. That's just the way it is.
Business.
Yeah, right. If I was going to bring Samoa Joe up, he's the biggest, baddest heel in the company right now. And I mean that, honestly, in the company. I mean, even on the main roster, he comes across as such a badass. He's changed that. I think he's a great heel. Just bring him off as a heel. Yeah, he is a scary guy.
He's intimidating looking.
Yeah. And even now he's playing the role a lot more, and like he's playing up to that enemy and heel role. I mean, at TakeOver Dallas, I don't think if you saw this, he got busted open very early in the match. You did. I think you did. Like right at the start of the match, he got busted open. There was blood all over him, and they had to keep patting him down. But when they had the blood all over him, man, he looked ferocious. He looked fucking scary. Like I that's the sort of guy I do not want to be messing with, right? He looked terrifying, right? To the point that he looks scarier than Finn Balor, and Finn Balor's got all the demon paint on, right? So, you know, yes, your homeboy right there.
Yeah.
Finn Balor. From Bray. How do you like Bray from being from Cork? Are they all right?
Yeah, we like other people, just not Dubliners.
You hate Sheamus because you're from Dublin.
He's a fucking tool. He's not as bad as Finlay?
Oh, Finlay, and he loves to fight, right?
Oh my god. I just fucking hate that shitty hokey Irish crap.
Oh dear. Well, at least Becky Lynch isn't doing that.
No, I like her now. Yeah, she looks pretty good.
She's from Dublin, though.
James' beard braids.
Yeah.
The fuck are those?
So that's a little bit of shame. We should talk a little bit about Sheamus because he wasn't on this week's Raw. And I'm sure you got a lot to say about him. So
yeah. Don't know the guy. Don't like the guy. I'm sure he's pretty nice outside. Didn't he have a Twitter war with Conor McGregor?
Oh, he always has Twitter.
Conor McGregor is the only Dubliner I like. He's
like the king of Ireland.
He is.
Like everywhere over here, they suck his cock. Let's be honest.
I would.
Okay.
How do you like them apples?
Yeah, I like them apples. People now, I've honestly, I thought I've had a few fans that have been like, it'll be like, he has a wife, but he keeps saying all these girls, like I keep saying every week that Lana's drop dead gorgeous. And he's like, they must be thinking, oh, wow, how does he get away with this? I'm like, because I get it all the time as well, guys. Like, this is just like the way it is. So.
Or I'll pull him and I'll be like, that girl's really hot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you do her? I know I would.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the question. Austin Aries. Now, this is a bit of a cop-out to the question here. I wouldn't bring Austin Aries up, and I'm sure some people disagree with me with this. I think Austin Aries, and I've said this before, I think he's overrated. I don't think he's nearly as good as a Samoa Joe or a Finn Balor. That's going to annoy some people right out of the gate because I know he's got he's got quite a few fans. With me, I just don't see the appeal of the guy, and I don't see him. If you put him on the main roster, I don't know how well he would do. Obviously, in the ring, he's good. I just don't think his overall package is nearly as useful as a Samoa Joe. That's just my opinion. But that's just my opinion there. So personally, my answer to your question is, how would I book them when they get called up? I just wouldn't call him up. I would call up Joe and let Aries do his stuff on NXT. And listen, guys, I mean, on NXT, it's not as if he's been kicking ass every single week on NXT. He hasn't done that much since he came in. And maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me being a bit biased towards the guy because I'm not a fan, but that's just how I believe it anyway. So there we are. We got some inanimate objects to join the council. Did you hear about this last week?
Briefly.
Yeah. So after the destruction of Mitch the Plant and Johnny the Jacket, we have convened.
Did you name it Johnny the Jacket?
I did name it Johnny the Jacket.
Yeah, I was very confused for a while. I was like, what the fuck is Raw doing? Why is it naming everything? Was the plant named?
Mitch.
But it was,
and it was, they called it Mitch, not us. Okay.
Yeah, I thought people were going crazy.
So we've got a couple of ones here. The Undertaker's urn from Axel Diaz. That's a good one. I like that one. Billy McGee gave us quite a lot. Barbie, which is the baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire, which is Mick Foley's, right?
She's adorable.
She is adorable. JBL's hat. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. Fair enough. One of Austin's beers. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's okay. The Money in the Bank briefcase. That's good with me. The Last Bootio, which is one of the newer things to come across with. That's fine. There's one I disagree with you, though, Billy. And you said that The Rock's eyebrow should be part of it. The Rock's eyebrow is consistent of hair. Hair grows, therefore it is not inanimate.
Some eyebrows are drawn on.
His isn't.
Do you know that for sure? Have you been up close and personal?
Are you defending Billy here?
I'm defending Billy. Of course I am. Have you not seen the new what is it? The WWE cartoon show.
Oh, he got his eyebrow shaved off.
Yeah, it got taken off.
But that means it's dead then, isn't it?
No, they stuck something back on. I'm telling you, it's not real hair.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't buy it.
I'm with Billy.
I don't buy it, but there we are.
Rock's eyebrow.
Yeah, okay.
Just the one.
The single solitary
just
eyebrow.
One, yeah.
Just one.
Just the one that raises.
Yeah. The other one is incapable of being...
The other one's a real eyebrow. That has actual hair.
I'm glad we had this discussion because
I'm glad I said you're right.
We have the debates that no one else has, but they're needed. You know, they're needed in the wrestling community.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, of course.
It'll keep us awake at night, otherwise.
Yeah. All right then.
I look away.
All right, it is time. Of course. Oh, before we get into that, if people want to leave any questions, of course, then you can leave them in the comment section below, or you can send them to our email. All that great stuff. We got a lot of response back from you from like because last week we changed the intro and the graphics and stuff. Really great response from that. Thanks a lot, guys, for that. Worked quite hard on doing that.
I vetoed everything.
You did. Including the split second of where Sexy Star says "fuck you" to Mariposa in that intro. It had to be by the millisecond perfect. So
yeah, I'm glad I could help with that.
Yeah.
So I've been sick shit of you shouting "fuck you," Mariposa.
Fuck you,
all
Mariposa.
over the house, in the car, driving around the street, in shops. Fuck you, Mariposa. Can't take you fucking nowhere.
You know, like when the little one comes up and says, "Daddy, can I help with your homework?" Fuck you!
I can see you mouthing it behind her back.
Oh dear. All right then, it is time for Stacey's super sexy, amazingly difficult but intense, awesome challenge.
Please don't hold it against me when I do terribly.
Yeah. You have to bear in mind, guys, that Stacey doesn't watch wrestling all the time. Very rarely you watch. I have tried to make it within the period that you watched wrestling with guys that you know, and to make it even easier for you, I have given you multiple choice questions. Okay. So it may be a little bit easier for the fans this week, but just bear in mind that we're dealing with a general wrestling fan.
I appreciate it, guys. Bear with me.
Yeah.
And even if I get these ridiculously easy questions wrong, I'm sorry.
Just bear in mind. Just bear that in mind.
I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know everything.
Yeah.
I know how to bake a cake.
Yeah. I should have done just ingredients for like a certain cake, and which is the odd one out that you don't have. You would have nailed it. Okay, are you ready then?
Sure.
Okay, question number one. How many times did Stone Cold Steve Austin win the WWE Championship? Was it A, 4 times, B, 6 times, C, 8 times? How many times did Austin win the championship?
I don't know. I'm going to go with 4.
I'm going to go with 4 championship reigns.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, obviously there's a big prize. There would be a big celebration. I have a button set on my desk that would rain down confetti balloons if you get all the questions right.
I'm not cleaning that shit up.
Well, you'd have to if you won.
You'd be cleaning that shit up.
You're not going to win this week. You got the first question wrong. It was 6 times that Steve Austin has won the World Championship. But there you are. On to number 2. See if you can salvage some dignity, dare I say. Yeah?
Fuck you.
Number 2. What WrestleMania did The Undertaker begin his streak of victories? Was it A, WrestleMania 1, B, WrestleMania 4, or C, WrestleMania 7? Oh, she's thinking now.
I'm trying to do the math. 7? WrestleMania 7?
Is that your final answer? Bearing in mind that I would do everything to fuck up your questions, even if you've got it right.
He started the streak.
Okay.
The first time he won the match.
That is correct. I will give you that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say 7.
7. Ding, 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 ding. You got it right. It is 7.
My math skills work.
Yeah, it was WrestleMania 7. He that was like, as you say there, he didn't lose any matches. That started the streak off, and he won every single one until he faced Brock Lesnar and lost. So there you go.
And that guy cried.
Yeah, right. They've got the big wide eyes. Ellis, I think his name is. He's brilliant.
He was brilliant on the Asian Christian show.
He was pretty good.
Next question.
Next question, number 3. Who did Stone Cold Steve Austin beat to win his first WWE Championship? Was it A, Bret Hart, B, The Rock, or C, Shawn Michaels? And I'll give you a bonus point if you can tell me who the special guest referee was in that match. This one will be a bit tough for you, I think. Because a lot of people got really big into wrestling with Austin being the champion, not just as he won it. So
yeah. I don't know.
Bret Hart, The Rock, or Shawn Michaels?
Is the special referee in your question?
No.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint on it. He's a celebrity.
Oh, it's Mike Tyson.
Oh, you got it. Okay, all right. Bonus point. But who did he beat? Who? If you remember, Mike Tyson helped Austin win, but who did he help? Who did he help him beat?
What year was it?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll give you another hint. Well, no, this hint doesn't even help you, but it's more for the fans. It's WrestleMania 14.
No, that doesn't fucking help.
I'm going to have to take a guess. You're running out of time.
Bret
Hart?
Yeah.
That's incorrect.
Go fuck yourself.
It was Shawn Michaels. But you got a bonus point for Tyson, though. You got a bonus point for Tyson.
Slow clap for Stacey.
Yeah. Number 4. Who competed in the first Hell in a Cell match? Was it A, Undertaker versus Mick Foley, B, Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, or C, The Undertaker versus Kane?
Mick Foley? Undertaker?
This is a bit of a trick question because that is incorrect.
Then why is it a trick?
Because probably the most famous Hell in a Cell match is Undertaker against Mick Foley. Who do you think it was then? I'll give you another chance out of the last 2. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and Kane.
Kane.
That's incorrect. It was Shawn Michaels. No.
I told you. Make
All right.
it easy.
Here we go.
They're so fucking simple.
Here we go. So you've got 2 points if I give you the bonus point as well. Okay. So I think that's pretty good, right? I think that's pretty good. Here we go. Number 5. And the last question. Who has won more WWE Women's Championships? Is it A, Trish Stratus, B, Lita, or C, Mae Young?
Oh my God, this is an awful question.
Yeah.
I want to say Trish Stratus.
Is that what you want to go with?
Yeah.
That is correct. It is Trish Stratus. Here's the thing about that. I put Mae Young in there because people naturally assume that she won the championship a bunch of times. She won the NWA Women's Championship, not the WWE Championship. Oh. So there's the thing there. So she actually, as far as I know, I may have got this wrong here in my own notes, but I don't think she ever won the WWE Women's Championship. It was the NWA Women's Championship. So technically, her reigns are 0.
Wow.
So there's a bit of a shock for you. All right. So you got 3 right.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad. 3 out of a possible 6. That's 50-50 right there. That's not too bad. I'll give you some props.
Like
everyone give Stacey a round of applause for that there.
Yeah.
But from a non-wrestling fan, right?
I haven't watched wrestling in a dedicated manner since I was maybe 15.
And you were big into Austin at that time.
Oh my God, yeah. I'm still big into Austin.
Yeah. You love it. You love it.
Yeah. Like I remember Undertaker kidnapping Stephanie McMahon.
That was like the worst segment in wrestling.
I remember just being 12, stuck to the TV, oh my God, he did what?
Someone should call the authorities.
Yeah, I was why is nobody calling the police?
All right then. So obviously, you guys, I think the fans would have had a bit of an easier time with that. You know, they're wrestling fans to the extreme. I've done harder ones. Some of them aced it. So I know it was a bit on the easier side this week.
Don't hold it against me.
No, I'm not holding it against you. Neither should they. Now, here's the real thing that I wanted to bring you in for, because obviously all the questions and stuff are more directed towards me. The news, they're more for someone like me who watches it, is involved more. The reason why I really wanted to bring you in this week was for the Raw review. And the reason for that is that I want to see, it was almost like an experiment for me. I wanted to see how someone who hasn't watched Raw in a very long time, let's be honest,
Yeah.
would take to the show just watching one of the episodes just on the fly.
Yeah.
You know? So you may, let's say, for people, this is like my experiment, you're flicking the channels, Raw starts, you think, you know what, I'll give this another try. Haven't watched it in ages, let's see what's going on with wrestling. So this is almost like our experiment, right?
Yeah.
And after this, you're going to see what Stacey's general thoughts are. I try to stay as silent as I can, so you have to take some sort of bias in because Stacey knows that I'm not a huge fan of where the product is going at the moment. But it's not as if you have any qualms liking things that I don't like, right? It's not exactly an issue, right? And it happens a lot. You watch a lot of shows that I don't like. I think Once Upon a Time is one of the most worst TV shows of all time.
I love that show.
But you love
Grey's
it, right?
Anatomy.
Grey's Anatomy, I think, is boring as hell and really ridiculous. Like how many like global catastrophes that you have with that one group of people?
Have you ever watched EastEnders?
Yeah, I don't like that either.
It's a soap drama. It did get ridiculous where she was like, we survived a car crash. We survived a plane crash. Our hospital got shot up. We survived that. Then we almost died and we survived that. We can survive this. You're like, fuck.
They should have...
That's 10 years.
They should have the Avengers posted outside Seattle Grace Hospital for like when the next tragedy hits.
Yeah.
They can save them all. But there we are. That's it. Okay, so this is the last episode, the Go Home show for Extreme Rules, the Go Home show being the show to sell the pay-per-view, right? This is supposed to make you want to buy the pay-per-view.
You're supposed to bring it on home.
Bring it on home. And it is WWE's last chance to sell Extreme Rules, and it emanates from Greensboro, North Carolina. And like I said, this is WWE's last shot to get us really into this pay-per-view. Sell that card hard, right? Get us really impacted. And for people that have already got the network, like myself, get us pumped up for this show. Get us really excited for it. That's their main objective. Whether or not they achieve that not this week is exactly what we're going to get into.
You asked me that question at the end of the show.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask you again at the end of this review for everyone else.
Okay.
So, number one contender, AJ Styles, kicks off the show. He's tired of Roman Reigns calling him a liar. Apparently, he's been hearing it everywhere. Seems like they want some. I thought they don't want them. They don't want them.
No?
No, they don't want them.
I thought they did.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
That's what his entrance music says. So,
oh.
Yeah. They don't want none. But they do want
Who
none.
doesn't want none?
I don't want none.
I want some.
Matt didn't want none this week. Bastard. Going away, camping.
I hope it rains.
Yeah.
And he forgot his spare underwear.
Yeah. That's why he's ended up using the fucking rabbit, right? So, yeah.
Soft.
Get up.
Poor rabbit.
Styles rattles off his accomplishments. He says that he isn't called phenomenal for nothing. And then Roman Reigns comes out, protected by his shield of booze. And what an ovation for Roman Reigns, Stacey. What an ovation.
Yeah, I was very confused. I was hearing one thing from JBL, and I was hearing another thing from the crowd. And it didn't match in my mind.
But the crowd were on their feet, weren't they? Huh?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh. Wait, they were booing him?
They were. I think maybe JBL has a different feed.
Oh.
He's looking at John Cena's entrance.
Oh. Silly JBL, you know. It's not as if he makes mistakes every single week on the show. It's JBL, right?
Guy you can trust.
Sarcasm. Right, so... the only thing that would work worse for Roman is if he went full Empire on us and started wearing a toga at this point. That would be where...
That was my joke.
I know, I've got it in my notes. I'm stealing
but you're fucking taking it.
Plagiarizing that shit, yeah.
He's all like, I'm the Roman Empire. And I'm like, where the fuck's your toga? Where's your chariot? Where's your military personnel?
Yeah.
I don't see jack shit. You need a flag.
To be honest, if you actually started coming out with that...
I would get a Roman Reigns coin. You should bring out limited edition medallions. I would buy that.
His gimmick would just be that he's just Julius Caesar now instead of the Roman Empire.
And he needs a Mark Antony.
It might actually... for some reason, I didn't think of Mark Antony. I thought of guy who's married to like J-Lo. I was like, what? What's that got to do anything?
Oh my god!
I realised that came out ridiculously stupid. But anyway.
But that's you, honey.
Yeah. It is. Roman says that All of Styles' championships that he's won compares nothing to the WWE Championship. Reigns is convinced that Styles is lying. Styles mocks Roman's new catchphrase of not being the bad guy, the good guy, but the guy that he'll beat at Extreme Rules. That catchphrase has only been around since
I
after
haven't
WrestleMania.
watched wrestling, and I've done nothing but hear that catchphrase.
Yeah, it genuinely. I have never seen a catchphrase die so quickly than this one. Right? It's supposed to be the big thing about Roman, right? And it's just like it literally like that's actually one of the things getting him a negative response from the crowd now, and like it's so dead.
Slogan.
They keep trying to add slogans to the guy, and it never seems to stick. They tried to do one versus all, didn't stick. Right? They've done a few things with him.
Because he just needs something on the fly. He needs something just like that to come to him.
The thing with him, right? You look at him and The Rock, right? The Rock with him, everything seems so natural. He just had more charisma. With Reigns, it just comes off as very rehearsed.
Yeah.
Rock came out. Some of his catchphrases like, "Can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" That is, if you break that down, that's a fucking ridiculous statement. What does that even mean? Yeah. But the fact that The Rock came out with it and the way he used it is what got it over. Here, Reigns is being fed lines,
but that's
and he's not
that's
doing
the
anything with them.
difference.
Yeah,
The Rock did his own.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, he never took somebody else's work, so he was true to himself, and he was able to say it with conviction. And when you could say something with conviction, you spread the belief.
Yeah, that's it. And people start getting on his side.
Preach.
And he had the added help of the fact that he already went heel once in his career, right? Yeah. At that point. In fact, he was cutting a lot of those catchphrases while being a heel, right? Reigns is not going to ever be heel, right? They want to do him like John Cena.
I think he'd be a great heel, though.
Yeah, I think he'd be one a really good heel. It's just a WWE.
Especially with his Roman Empire thing going on.
Yeah. One idea is bringing up Samoa Joe as his right-hand man, and then have Samoa Joe being basically like the guy he sends to go and destroy people on command. And then
Guard dog.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, some people may dislike that because like Samoa Joe's much better than Roman Reigns. Yeah, sure, I agree. But Roman Reigns, clearly, he's their pet. They want Roman Reigns to get over. There is worse places on the roster for Samoa Joe than being associated with the world champion. And that's the way I look at it. But still, I know why some people would dislike that. But they trade insults until Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah, Anderson, I saw him too.
Yeah, Anderson. Yeah, sorry. Anderson, who did a great podcast with Jericho, by the way, when we watch that. Gallows' stories of him being trapped in Nigeria is fucking gold. You have to go watch that. It's endorsed here by the Let's Talk Wrestling podcast. And the Usos flank Reigns. The champion attacks the challenger and lays out Styles, and that's how it ends. Listen, I know I'm going to explain this because I know a lot of people are possibly thinking, geez, Tony, like this is a dead horse at this point. You keep saying every single week, Roman Reigns is getting booed, yet we know it. The reason I'm bringing it up every single week is because of how similar Reigns is being received by the audience to how Cena was received. And WWE seems to have this general thought track nowadays that it's impossible for them to book a top star without them having a 50-50 response from the crowd. It is possible to get your top star cheered by everyone. It is. I know it's harder nowadays. Sure, I get that. It was much easier to make Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold loved back in their heyday than to make guys now cheered. But it is possible. You have to be smarter and you have to book differently. It boggles my mind how they expect different results from booking Reigns the exact same as they booked Cena.
Yeah.
Right? They were like, oh, it's like, what can we do? Like, Reigns just, no matter what we do. I'm like, you did exactly the same as what you did with Cena. You're going to get exactly the same results, right? I think this segment went nowhere. I don't think it offered anything particularly good. I thought it was poor. I thought it was a poor opening segment. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It didn't catch my attention very well.
Waffled on a bit, didn't it?
Yeah, I just couldn't stop staring at his hair.
You're not a big fan of Styles' hair.
For some reason, I don't like him. I just look at him and then I realize he's quite groomed. And at one stage I thought he was wearing makeup. And I didn't like him. I don't know what it is about him. I'm like...
I will tell you now, listen, like, because obviously you have your I think it's very naive if some people go, how dare you say that about Styles? I'm sure some people seeing him for the first time are going to think that way, right? That's why I don't discredit your opinion, because there is more than...
I have to say that's first impression, though.
Yeah. Now, he is one of the best pro wrestlers alive today.
Snippet for the end of the show, I started seeing what other people were seeing.
Yeah. But first impression, that's all you can think of.
Oh my God. But then again, he was standing next to Roman.
Yeah. Who would you do, Roman or AJ?
Oh, Jesus Christ, that's a fucking question. Like, my ovaries exploded. Roman came out, and I was just like, okay, let's go.
I think it's funny that you can appreciate the good looks of Roman Reigns, but you still think he's boring as shit on this show.
But he doesn't need to entertain me with his mouth.
Yeah.
It's speech.
Yeah. Just to stand there and just look.
He can do stuff, but he doesn't have to talk.
Yeah. Actually, you're onto something there. I actually think it would be a lot better if he didn't talk as much as he does.
Yeah. I mean, if he was the silent... like a silent aggressor, like if he had somebody else employed like to do his speeches for him or to be his mouthpiece, I think he'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
He's got a great presence. I really think he does, and he's got a great look. He's quite intimidating looking when he's quiet.
Yeah, when he opens his mouth, the allure and the mystique
He's a bit like
of
Brock
it is gone.
Lesnar. Like when he opens his mouth, he loses the allure.
Yeah, that's why you got Heyman with him, and Heyman does all the stuff for him. So yeah,
and you're Heyman.
You are my Paul. Paula Heyman.
Paula Heyman is what I've nicknamed myself.
All right then. So the first match of the night: Sami Zayn versus Cesaro. You've got Owens and Miz on commentary.
Sami Zayn's like gear.
You just like his whole deal.
He came out and I was pumped. I wanted to jump around the sitting room watching him.
Yeah.
His entrance is amazing. He's infectious.
He's in the running with Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles for Performer of the Year, Male Wrestler of the Year. His matches have been very, very good. And I think would you agree? I've always said this about Zayn. He always comes across as a guy that you want to get behind. He seems like a genuine guy that you'd like to see succeed. He's got the Daniel Bryan part of him in that way. You just want to see him.
He underdog. He looks like he'd connect with people.
Yeah. That's what I believe anyway, and just the fact that you feel the same. I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah, I want to be his friend.
Yeah. So when Cesaro came out, I pointed out to him and I said, "You're going to like this entrance." And first of all, you were like, "How is he going to wrestle with the suit?" And then he rips all the stuff off, and you're like, "You like a man who undresses quickly?"
Yeah, I do.
I'm not quite sure. No swings for you, okay? No big swings from Cesaro for you. You're bad.
Yeah, no, that's going to happen.
No swinging with Cesaro.
I would love to swing with Cesaro. I'm pretty sure he could do a pretty good swing.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind getting a swing from Cesaro. Not in that method.
Cesaro. Yeah. I just look at him and I just think, man.
Doesn't he look a bit like Jason Statham, though?
He does, and I love Jason Statham.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever even heard Cesaro talk.
He's one of those people
Where's he from?
He's from Switzerland. He's Swiss. He's uncannily strong. Like he is. Like he can do stuff.
He could give me a good time.
People are going to
I'm
think
now banned from watching Cesaro.
Yeah. Right, let me add that to the list. Reigns, Cesaro.
I'm never watching Raw again, am I?
You can do what you like. Well, since when have I ever told you not to do something and then you don't do it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so people know, I do actually love my husband. I am attracted to him. I'm attracted to lots of other people too.
Yeah.
But they're my celebrity crushes.
You have celebrity crushes. I have the same. Mandy Moore. Yeah.
Fucking bitch.
Anyway, back into what's going on. Owens leaves commentary because Miz is fucking annoying as all hell. I don't blame him. But Owens, in my opinion, turned face by attacking the Miz at ringside and trying to walk off with the championship. Now, of course, I'm joking. Owens is still a massive heel, but just by him attacking Miz, I'm like, yeah, cool, thanks. I fucking hate the Miz. He's annoying as all hell. So there we are. They brought into the ring, which stops the match. We barely got to see any of what Cesaro and Zayn could have put on, which is a bit of a shame because I thought
it was very disappointing. I was excited to watch the Cesaro and Zayn match.
Yeah, I thought that could have been a match that could have could have been the best on the night. And listen, when you're adding in Owens into the match, that's fine. And Miz is an okay wrestler. I would have preferred to see the singles match more, but that's just my opinion. And of course, they do set up Shane comes out and sets up a tag team match straight out of Teddy Long's playbook.
He was dad dancing.
Dad dancing.
Yeah, you know that really awkward
He's
dad at those parties that is just jiving. And you're just
well, like I do.
Yeah, you don't even jive. You can't dance. You know the dad that you're just like, oh my God, he's just not cool.
He's trying a bit too hard.
He's trying to be 20.
Yeah.
That was Shane. He came out and I cringed. I'm like, I remember him doing those moves when I was like 15. And I thought he was so cool. And now I'm just like, oh, stop dancing.
It looks a little bit cool with the silvery hair and.
No, he looks really good.
Yeah,
I love the silver hair.
Yeah, he ages pretty well, doesn't he, Shane?
Yeah, most men do.
Yeah.
But he's just dressing and acting like he's 20. It's so hard for me to do because I remember him from when I was younger to now seeing him so silver hair.
I get what you mean. It's a bit of a jarring thing. When they were doing a lot of the video packages leading up to like the Undertaker match, they were showing like Shane before he left and Shane now. It was even then it was only like 6 years, but it seemed like a big change happened there. So, but still, Shane places his tongue on Greensboro's ass. Got to love the old catchphrases here on this podcast. You don't even know that one.
No, I don't.
Placing your tongue on someone's asshole is basically like licking them out, like
I know what placing your tongue on someone's asshole does.
No, it's like you're basically
stupid.
It's an extra form of kissing their ass. You're going an extra mile. That's what we say.
Giving them a rim job.
Yeah, to a degree, in a verbal sense, anyway. Yeah. Stephanie comes out, says that Owens and Zayn teaming against each other against Cesaro and Miz is a much better idea. And Stephanie warns that if Owens does a walkout, which he is prone to do, then he'll be out of the Intercontinental Championship match at Extreme Rules. So, yeah, I still stick by this that Stephanie is smoking hashish. So,
yeah, she seemed extremely friendly with Shane.
Yeah, she's gonna betray him at some point. He's just.
I know, but it was just weird because I've been like, every time I've caught her on pay-per-views or anything recently, she's just been bitch Steph.
Yeah.
And then to see her with this, it was just like Stepford Steph.
Well, like at WrestleMania, she was basically like Mad Max Princess Steph. Like, yeah,
that was fucking weird. It was amazing. She's such a great actress.
She aged very well, I will say, Steph. She's still drop dead gorgeous, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So this still goes into the tag team match. The most interesting part of this is obviously Zayn and Owens teaming with each other because they've got a lengthy history of not liking each other now in WWE at very least. Forcing tags on each other, trying to outdo and outpip each other with certain moves and stuff like that. I thought this was a good match. This whole Intercontinental title situation, I think it's pretty solid with these four. You've got four decent wrestlers. In the sense of Cesaro, Zayn, and Owens, I think you've got world-class wrestlers there.
Yeah.
So I think that the IC title match is one of those ones that could really do quite well at the pay-per-view. It's one of the ones I'm excited for. I think WWE's done that much wrong in terms of booking this rivalry, so I'm all on board. Cesaro and Miz end up fighting each other. Cesaro hits Miz with his own finisher, the skull-crushing finale, and then Zayn hits the haluva kick, gets the win. Owens takes him out afterwards and demands that his hand be raised because he won too. He was part of that tag team that won. So he has a point.
Yeah.
Have his hand raised. He did just kick his teammate in the head, but...
No, but he still participated.
He still did his thing. He still won the match. So.
He's not the Jen Terry.
Yeah, exactly. Byron Saxton. Oh, here we go. He tells us to catch some of the new stuff on the WWE Network, including WWE Camp WWE. His words, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I hope this is just a mistake and it's not the WWE Payback thing where you'll notice if you watch wrestling a lot that they put, for some reason, some pay-per-views, they insist that they have to put the WWE moniker before the pay-per-view. So, over this one, they've just been saying Extreme Rules. I'll face you Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
I'll take the title off you Extreme Rules. Certain pay-per-views like Payback and Fastlane, they're so adamant that you can't say Fastlane or Payback. You have to say WWE Fastlane.
But is that because
WWE
it's
Payback.
Already a brand? Hasn't there been movies called Payback?
I believe that's probably part of the issue. But still, regardless of that, it's fucking annoying and it's stupid to have these guys come out and say, I'm going to beat you at WWE Payback. It makes no sense. It just
I'm
comes off
guessing
really bad.
it must be a copyright infringement or something.
But yeah, I was like, WWE Camp WWE. No. Hope it's just a slip of the tongue, but still. Jericho speaks to Renee Young backstage. Jericho says that Ambrose will apologize for the destruction of Johnny the Jacket. A jacket, he says, that should have been in the Smithsonian. I agree, Stacey. It deserved the chance to come back to life in another Night at the Museum movie. What inanimate object doesn't deserve the chance to come to life, be a character, and be in one of Ben Stiller's awful movies?
It might come to life at night.
Maybe it's still alive in our hearts.
In our hearts.
Yeah.
If you just believe enough, if you just believe and make a wish, it can be true.
He might come back, right?
He might visit you tonight. Give you a fright.
Yeah. With the lights off and everything.
I'm going to grab my jacket tonight and I'm just going to throw it at him.
For Christmas lights on it. Oh God.
Can't wait to fuck with you.
Oh God. What's coming up next?
This was too funny.
This is too funny. The Shining Stars versus Random Guy number 1 and Random Guy number 2.
My favorite was Random Guy number 2.
Yeah, I thought he did very well. So, when this came on, let me set the scene. Let me set the scene for you before you explain what you thought this was.
Okay.
So the way that the brakes had gone off, right, we skipped past the brakes and it come back on. And it's like I'm kind of doing my notes, I think, for like the previous segment or coming up with a joke or something. So you're watching it. And, like, you're really confused at this point because basically they do the vignettes of Primo and Epico, the Shining Stars.
Yeah.
Please explain what you thought it was. And I don't blame you for thinking this because we've made some sort of jokes. What did you think it was?
I turned to you and I thought, oh, my God, WWE is so progressive. I can't believe that they're showing, like, I thought this was like a holiday destination for, like, same-sex marriage or like, you know, come get married here or have your honeymoon here, like for same-sex couples. And I thought, wow, WWE is so progressive, you know, equal love for everyone, and they're putting it out there. I was so impressed until I realized they were just wrestlers. I am still really confused. There's no words.
I don't blame you because in the pictures they've got flowers with each other.
They're
like,
very much in love. Even like when they were coming down the ring, they're in love.
I love the fact that I can't exactly blame for you genuinely thinking that WWE was airing a progressive pro-gay advertisement.
Thought, wow, WWE has my respect for being so progressive.
Oh, that's so brilliant. So
there was no way in my head this came into my head as wrestlers. No, I really, really thought this was an advertisement.
Oh, to be honest, like, the way I look at it is that they kind of come off like they're newly married homosexual Puerto Rico travel guides. That's basically what their whole...
I thought they were just like showing off a holiday destination, you know? Come here for your honeymoon. Yeah. Or like get married on the beach.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I really thought that was what was happening.
No, it's Primo and Epico. This is gimmick number 3 for them. The response for these guys was as bankrupt as Puerto Rico's finances itself. I feel a bit bad for saying that, but it is true. Yep. Puerto Rico's fucked, so there you go. I urge anyone to go and watch the John Oliver thing. He's got like a 20-minute video about how bad of a state that Puerto Rico's in. Not exactly the shining star of the Caribbean when you've got like people dying in the streets and shit like that. So yeah, if you deal with that, sure.
Yeah, if you can overlook the dying people in the street.
Yeah, you know. So this match lasted about as long as the crowd cared about them, which is around about a minute, and that's being generous. The crowds gave them absolutely nothing.
I barely remember this match. I just remember just looking at them and trying to match up the advertisement.
Yeah. We were still laughing over the fact that, you know, what we thought it was. This whole deal, this whole gimmick.
They kept hugging each other, coming down. Remember? And they had flowers for each other. They were giving each other flowers, and they had their arms around each other.
There's no Billy and Chuck.
I could see them as a couple.
Yeah, sure. However, unlike Billy and Chuck, these guys aren't really my guilty pleasure. This whole gimmick, guys, it's going to die of death. It already has. If you're getting this response on week 1 after almost 2 months of vignettes, then it's not looking very good for you. It's just not going to work. And I like Primo and Epico because they're good workers. They can wrestle very well. and clearly they're a decent tag team. But if this is your third gimmick and you haven't got it over, and the guys just ain't getting over, I can guarantee you, then
it's time to go back to basics.
It's time to cut bait. And I mean, it's like, honestly, if I were WWE, I'd send them down to NXT.
Yeah, they need to cut some teeth on a gimmick.
They need to find out something that sticks rather than keep giving it a try. Most people don't even get a chance with one gimmick. They're getting a chance with 3. They're fucking lucky and unlucky.
And have all those gimmicks been tried on the main roster?
Yeah, it's the first of all they were just Primo and Epico. Then they were the Los Matadores.
Oh.
With El Torito, who got released, and now they're the Shining Stars, the progressive homosexual Puerto Rico travel travelers. So there you are. Yeah, we weren't impressed, shall we say? We got a laugh at them, but it was more at their expense rather than anything else. But yeah. Ambrose is out. Stacey still states that he is the father of my second child. So
yes, I have a side-by-side picture of Ambrose and our second child, and I swear to God, I'm going to sue him for paternity. Don't know how it happened, but it fucking happened.
Here's the thing, right? You took a picture of Ambrose and you took a picture of our daughter. The way that you did both of them is uncanny, I have to say. They look very alike.
They have the same hair, the same crazy look in their eyes. This is the Ronda Rousey kid we're talking about. And I put it up on Facebook, and I was like, I think I have to tell Tony something. And people agreed with me. They were like, what the fuck? How is he not her dad?
If people,
your nan agreed with me.
Yeah, she did. If people want to see it, then I'm sure I might share it up on the Facebook page for more of our dedicated fans.
Yeah.
And then you can make your own assumptions, but we can see for next.
She has that crazy look.
She does have the crazy look. She does. But he's out. He's pissed that Jericho put him on a straitjacket on SmackDown, an angle that I thought would have been fairly decent if I watched SmackDown, which I don't, and I won't. Because Raw is 3 hours long. I've got a pay-per-view, which is another 3 hours. I've got Lucha this week and NXT.
Do you know what I'm hearing?
What?
Bitch, bitch, bitch. Yeah. Moan.
I will bitch and moan. You would not watch 10 hours of like EastEnders every single week.
Yeah, I would.
No, you wouldn't.
I would watch 10 hours of Grey's Anatomy. I had a confession to make. I've been binge watching Netflix for like 6 months now.
This is your coming out, is it? This is
my coming out. Yeah, I'd say I've watched about 300 hours of Netflix. It's a problem at this stage.
Maybe this doesn't sell what I'm saying. Okay, would you watch 10 hours of football every single week? No. Would you watch?
But I would YouTube the highlight reel. I would watch Match of the Day.
Actually, one of the things that people do that actually watch Raw through WWE's Twitter feed. So what they do is that because WWE will post up like basically like the endings of matches and stuff and like certain promos.
It's like the cheat sheet.
So, yeah, that's basically what they do.
When you had to do a book in school and you were able to buy like the cheat sheet copy.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Like I know Matt on some weeks where he's struggled to get through Raw, he's done that a few times on occasion. Not very rarely, of course, because we do try and get through Raw every single week. But I can't blame him. Like WrestleMania week, we got through like almost like 17 hours of pro wrestling in a week.
Yeah,
that's almost a full day. Like, listen, I get it. Like, if you're really passionate about something, you can watch tons of it, and you'll be happy about it. I would dare anyone to watch 17 hours of what they like in a week, and say that they very at least weren't at some point uncomfortable or a little bit blown out at that point, right?
Yeah.
It's oversaturation. When you've got, like, I know they can't say anything for Lucha Underground, but technically they've got 7 hours of pro wrestling that they want us to keep up to date with, and they're expecting us to watch SmackDown. That's another 2 hours. That's 9. That's way too much.
Any pre-shows.
That's not including the stuff they want you to watch on the network, right? So, yeah, it's just too much. It really is. Jericho comes out. He demands an apology for last week's murder of Johnny the Jacket. Ambrose refuses, of course, because Mitch was the first casualty in this war. Stop the inanimate object violence. That's what we say here on the show. He wants another match against Jericho at Extreme Rules. Jericho says something weird here where he says he'll take $15,000 out of Ambrose's ass. I'm like, this isn't like Vince McMahon doing a lobotomy on JR where random shit is flying out. Where like a bowling ball was ejected from JR's poo bowl. You know?
Okay.
You know, he's not exactly going to go in there with a drill and expect 15 grand to come out of his
but
ass.
you know, maybe he just wants to sell Ambrose, make him into a gigolo, sell his ass.
Well, it's one way of doing it.
I'd buy him.
I don't think he'll be up for that though, Ambrose.
Does he really have a choice?
Yeah, of course he has a choice. Just because you know. Right, I'm going to put Ambrose on the list. All right. So basically what they're doing here is that they're setting up a asylum match, the first ever asylum match. And if you don't know what it is, it's essentially a cage match with stuff you would normally find in an asylum around. And when I say that, it's loosely based because you've got 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire on the outside as well. So Barbie's a baseball bat with barbed wire, not a 2x4.
Okay, we need to know them for herself.
So that's very pedantic. That must come across as the most like nerdy pedantic. No, Barbie isn't that. It has to be exactly this kind of frame of wood and everything. Super wrestling nerd. But basically they're all suspended, like almost like on top of the cage, on the outside of the cage. So I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of things where you climb up the cage, grab something down. I didn't even see if there's any door. I can't even remember that. So like, I'm sure it's
going to be shock treatment.
They've done that once in wrestling and it was awful. So yeah, a long time ago.
Electrify the fence.
I think it was like the Cage of Doom or something, and it was like this massive like 10-man match where like the thing is that one person would get put in a shock chair and basically. It was in WCW and it was fucking disgraceful. It was so bad. So there you go. That's the last time asylum-based, I guess, anything was ever put in. But I actually think that this... Listen, I had to stop myself getting a little bit overexcited with what these guys can do in this environment, considering Ambrose's match at WrestleMania, because that was such a dud. That was such a failed opportunity, such a missed chance. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and the benefit of my excitement because I think they could knock it out of the park. But I have to admit, when I started getting excited for this, I was like, but the last time I got really excited for an Ambrose match, it was against Brock Lesnar, and it was the most disappointing match of the night. It's getting late, guys.
You're getting an Irish accent.
I'm disappointing.
You're getting a little bit of an Irish accent.
Disappointing.
Yeah, when Tony gets really mad and really excited, he tends to get an Irish accent sometimes.
I've lived in this country like almost 8 years or something, so
yeah.
You know, you expect some of it to come
Or
across.
kids have a little bit of an English accent.
Kind of a mix of both, yeah.
They say thank you.
Babes.
Oh, babes.
I actually thought Ambrose here, when he's talking to Jericho, he came across as sadistic. He came across as a bit scary here as the cage is coming around him. He's just looking down, and he looked unstable but focused at the same time. This is quite close to the Ambrose that I pitched a while back, the sadistic Ambrose. I thought it was a great promo. I really enjoyed it, and I think it really set up that match.
He plays the character well.
Yeah, he does. Sometimes he comes across a little bit too comedic, whereas this time he was much more, I'm going to end you sort of thing, which he came across.
I like that style.
That side of him, I think, is far more productive and far more exciting than when he's like, oh, I'm just a lunatic fringe, I'm Dean Ambrose, here's Mitch the Plant, right? It's a little bit like, okay, that's fair enough, but I like this Ambrose. This is the sadistic Ambrose that I do enjoy. Dana Brooke runs into some production workers backstage, and she talks them down. Yeah, that's Dana Brooke.
She was such a fucking cunt. She was.
Whoa! That's blunt. Okay.
She was all like, change your face, change your style, change this, that, the other, and I might consider you.
That's kind of a point, though. She's trying to be a cunt, so.
She's not trying, she's succeeding.
Well, there you go. That's her job, so. Here's the thing about that, though. I think Dana Brooke, in terms of getting some heat and getting playing the heel role, I think she's pretty good. The problem with her is that she's not ready in the ring, which is what I said earlier on the show, right? And we get Becky Lynch versus Dana Brooke. This is Dana Brooke's debut match on the main roster. So, while I disagree about bringing in Dana in at this point, clearly WWE have a different plan in mind for introducing her before Emma got injured, and you know they can't really be. I'm not pointing the finger at him here and saying, "Yo, you're fucking this up," because they've been pushed into a situation by an injury, right? So I'll give them a pass on this. But bearing in mind that this is her debut, there's basically been no education to the general crowd about who Dana Brooke is and why people should care. I'm not. Before I've continually blamed WWE for the way they treated Tyler Breeze with this. With Dana Brooke, I'm not going to, because I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and think they had a different plan in mind.
Their hand was forced.
Yeah, their hand was forced. They played the cards that they got dealt. That's okay with me, and that's fine. Bearing in mind, however, that I can't even remember the last time I watched Dana Brooke wrestle on NXT, kind of reinforces the fact that I still firmly believe that she needed another 18 months in NXT to hone her skills. I think there's going to come a moment where she's going to get, she's going to get shown for what she is. She's going to get exposed, right?
Yeah.
That's how I think it's going to go down. She might be able to put, this match here wasn't great. She kind of went to what she knew, and it wasn't very long. She actually wins this match. She beats Becky Lynch. You did hear that correctly. She beat Becky Lynch. The match itself was okay. It wasn't anything great.
Yeah, I thought Becky was winning. She seemed to have the upper hand in a lot of the match.
That's kind of how they played the story of it, where like Dana stole it from her sort of thing. But I got a feel for Becky Lynch with this, because she's never been further away from the Women's Championship title, right?
Yeah.
And they don't seem to have much of a plan with her going forward. I don't think they've got Becky in mind for a long-term story like they have for Sasha Banks, right? So it's one of those things where, like, they're using her as a way to try and get some other of the new NXT
because
recruits
she needs
up.
a hook, Like, I like Becky Lynch, but she needs her niche.
I think she's got a niche, though. The whole steampunk thing, I think that...
But it doesn't come across very well. I mean, her entrance was
to the
quite
crowd, it
rushed
does. Like, she is well received by the crowd, I will say, in general. But it's one of those things here where...
No, but the va-va-voom.
Do you feel like something's not properly connecting?
I think she could use just a little bit more. This is the baker in me talking, the little pinch of something else. And that would put her up there in the forefront.
I think she's just a victim here of people having other plans, right? And they need to use someone.
Yeah, but what I mean is, if she had that extra bit that made them stand and take notice of her, then they would have to use her.
I get what you're saying. I disagree, but that's just my opinion.
Well, then fuck you.
Come
You
on.
know where you're
I
sleeping
disagree
tonight.
all the time.
Well, that's you a fucking man. He lives in a different country. I cook your meals.
I talk a lot of shit about it every single week.
Yeah. No wonder he took a break in the fucking...
Yeah. I kept telling him he was Scottie Pippen. I was Michael Jordan. Oh, dear. Oh, well. Before people get over thing of like, this is just how we talk to each other.
This is our banter.
This is our banter. Don't get too far into it. Bob Backlund. Oh, God. Oh, this was bad. Bob Backlund asks Darren Young, what time does his watch say?
I was very confused about this.
Yeah, so was I. They then argue about how they check time, whether or not you should do it on your phone or not, or you do it on your wristwatch. That's
Say that again?
basically it. Wristwatch.
You said it wrong first.
Oh, there.
Tongue twister.
So last week I said with this group that there's two very different ways they can go about it. One way I would have liked them to go with it, and one way that I wouldn't have liked it. The way I would like for them to go with Backlund and Darren Young is to make it a very smart social commentary on the whole Donald Trump thing. Because the whole tagline for it is, let's make Darren Young great again, right?
Yeah, it's very much like an election.
So you could have Bob Backlund basically play the Donald Trump role, and you could do a lot of very interesting social commentary with that character.
Yeah.
However, they've chosen to go the route I didn't want, which is comedy, and
Old
the comedy
versus young.
the comedy sucks, right? This segment was awful.
I thought they were selling watches for a while.
Yeah.
I really did.
I was like, where the fuck is this going? Where's the punchline? There was no punchline.
It was just really awkward.
It was just awkward, yeah. And what I don't like as well is that clearly they filmed it with them in different locations. Because, like, you can tell even just because of the fact that they're doing their lines and then obviously someone else is reading it because they're doing it in two different locations.
Yeah.
The way that the pausing in some of their sentences, it comes off as if they're not actually talking to each other.
Yeah.
I don't know how hard it would have been just to get Bob Backlund. I mean, Darren Young's not even on fucking TV. Put them somewhere on like a live
Skype
event where Bob Backlund is. Film a bunch of stuff there and then do it. Why was it so much of a problem that they had to send two different crews out and film them separately? Or even worse, they decided that they had them and decided to film it this way anyway, which I think is totally redundant. I'm worried about this, guys, because I think this is going to fucking die. And I honestly think WWE are missing the chance here to play off some really smart social commentary with this. All right? I think they're missing the chance. But go figure. This is just what WWE does a lot. When they don't know what to do with something, they go to comedy, and they can't do comedy.
No.
They can't do it.
Force it.
They can't do comedy.
It has to be natural.
Shane and Steph are speaking to each other backstage. The Dudleys are there. They speak to them. They say that they want to remind them what two guys from the Attitude Era can do in the new era.
Do you know what they can do?
What?
They can wear their glasses wrong.
That's the one thing that you took away from this entire segment, that Devon had his glasses on the wrong way around.
Yeah, it was very confusing. What were they doing there?
Yeah.
It made no sense.
It was bizarre.
I tend to lose focus.
I think that says a lot, though. That we're roughly around about midway throughout the show here, and I think you started to feel it at this point. Like I could see you sort of.
I wasn't
wavering
focused
a bit.
on what they were saying. I was focused on the area around them.
Yeah.
When they should have just been able to draw attention.
Yeah. And to be honest, it's because they don't really say that much here in this whole thing. Stephanie just says, we're not going to set you up against this couple of small Carolina guys. That's not what they do anymore. Didn't they just do that with the Shining Stars earlier on, facing random Carolina guy number 1, random Carolina guy number 2?
How'd you know they're from Carolina?
Don't know, but technically it's known when you've got two random guys that they're the local talent, right? So I'm like,
yeah, I was really
as of
confused because Steph's not a bitch anymore.
Well, clearly she's playing up to something.
I know, but it was just very confusing.
Or she's smoking a sheesh.
She must be.
She's smoking a happy leaf.
Or she's getting some.
Yeah. Shane sets one of them up against Cass. They just had to decide who.
Didn't Steph do a really good accent?
I don't know. Did she?
She said soft.
I don't know, but still.
She did. Yeah, she's pretty good.
I kind of tuned out at that point. We're showing a video. Oh, God. Oh, fuck me. Oh, dear. We're showing a video package. Oh, you know what's coming up. We're showing a video package about R-Truth and Goldust finally joining forces. It's meant to be uplifting, inspiring, heartwarming. I would have had much more fun having blazing hot diarrhea burning my arsehole than watching the last 5 months of these guys doing horrendous comedy.
I couldn't believe you had watched 5 months of this. Like the brief look back on it made me laugh. Yeah. But it was painful. Yeah. And that's what made me laugh.
You're like, what have you been watching for the last 5 months? And I'm like, yeah, right?
Why are they in love?
Oh,
They should go with the Puerto Rican guys. Go on holidays.
Yeah. Just visit Puerto
Maybe
Rico.
That's what they need to gel as a team. They just need to all go on holidays together.
Yeah, exactly. It's Puerto Rico, the shining star of the Caribbean. That's in terms of economical depth. Apparently, Breeze and Fandango attacked them both on SmackDown, which has finally binded these teams together.
Bound.
I don't really care. I really don't give a shit.
I could just look at them and all I thought was flamingos for some reason.
Yeah, there they are.
So it made sense that the two guys with the funny looking pants would join together.
Yeah.
I just don't get the other two at all.
Well, that leads into the next match.
It was very like a rocky relationship, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You're going to be my lady. Yes, you are. Okay.
Golden Truth versus Breezango, as apparently they're called. Cole is treating this union as if it was DX or The Shield finally joining forces once again.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He was raving on commentary about, it's finally happening, everyone. Like, fucking stop the presses. The Golden Truth is a thing. Yeah. Oh, my good God. It's actually happened. Cole is basically shitting his pants with excitement. I'm like, could you come across as any more disingenuous than you currently are, right? I would have accepted this if they had not treated me to some of the worst 5 months of comedy I've ever had. The match doesn't last very long at all. All this build-up for basically nothing. Truth hits Goldust with a heel kick, which is apparently enough to beat him. So, there you are. If I've got a partner that's being beaten with a heel kick, then I'm pretty much without Truth that I need a new partner. Well, sorry, Goldust wants a new partner. What's he got to say? He's the one who lost the match with a heel kick. And yeah, he was the one moaning after the match.
Yeah.
He's got nothing to say. This whole thing was like watching the worst porno in the world, where you're just hoping at very least the cum shot is worth the wait, but it just never happens. And when it does, it's just like nothing.
Disgusting.
It's just nothing there. Worst porno in the world.
We've seen a few of those.
Yeah. Womb Raider.
Interesting. I wouldn't waste my time.
Are we going to do the Let's Talk Porn podcast?
I would love to do the Let's Talk Porn podcast. If you guys would like that.
I've done we did the Let's Talk Penis podcast when we did our top 9 Hulk Hogan penis jokes. So.
Yeah, but I would happily commentate on a porno.
Truth is speaking to Goldust backstage. He says that
he's really into them now being a team.
Yeah. He says it's just their first time teaming up. Apparently they need to get their creative juices flowing. They need their chakras aligned. Breezango calls them the Golden Girls. I thought that was a good line. That was a good line. And the new era will pass them by. I'm done with this. Guys, you know this by now. People know it. I'm not exactly hidden it from everyone. I still think it's shit. I'm going to try and keep an open mind about it, but I'm not. I think I'm going to have the same response as I always have. I'm not into this team. I think everything that we've had beforehand has been really, really bad. It's been such a... the comedy's been so poor. It's been a waste of time. And I like R-Truth. I like Goldust. I really like Goldust. Got massive respect for the guy for basically reinvigorating his career. But this is not the same sort of magic that they managed to capture back when Goldust was teaming with Booker T. Right, and it was like they're trying to get some of that back again.
Yeah. But
they can't. It just doesn't work that well. People nowadays expect a little bit higher, a little bit of evolution of writing than they did 10 years ago back when Goldust and Booker T were teaming up with each other. People expect a bit more now. People have moved on. WWE's comedy hasn't moved on since then. They're still relying on the same sort of deal that they think worked back then, you know?
Yeah.
And it's definitely not working now. So, there we are. The New Day are out. They reveal their time machine.
Oh, this was so fucking awful. This just...
Now,
I did like the name, though.
The New DeLorean. I
liked that.
That was good. I do like that one. Patent pending, of course. Patent pending. Complete with wacky lights and sound effects. They even did like a filter, right? Everything with the screen. Yeah. It was quite bonkers. The New Day, when they do stuff like this, they go on a fine line. And sometimes they go on stuff and they go on a fine line and they knock it out of the park. And it's really fucking hilarious no matter what they do. They've got natural charisma, that group. I'm a really big fan of the New Day. I will say, though, that I think you picked a bad week to see what the New Day are about. I think this is one of the weeks where they went a little bit too overboard with the wackiness with it, personally. The only thing I was surprised with is the fact they all managed to fit in the damn thing, considering Big E, right?
That was my joke!
I know, plagiarism, it's brilliant, right?
Yeah, I was very confused because that box did not look like it would fit.
It didn't look like it fit Big E, let alone the other two.
No, I was like, how did they fit in? Did they go sideways? Were they facing each other? Were they big spoon, little spoon, little spoon? It was very confusing.
They go back to 2009 with the Jamaican Kofi, right?
Yeah.
SOS.
And he did the clap thing, boom thing.
They drag him in despite him saying that was his best year. People know my thoughts on Kofi back then, and I've had a lot of hate for it, so I'm not going to go into that. Then they go back to a time of black and white, to a day gone, the bygone era, as they say. All right, with no video games, and their bootios are now referred to as derriere squares.
I thought that was quite funny.
That was quite good. I thought it was funny, though, that in this bygone era that they travelled to, Raw looks and feels exactly the same.
Even the people did.
I'm sure that's a little bit more telling, the fact that Raw feels exactly the same as it did 10 years ago. Maybe so. We've still got John Cena running around, well, not recently. Now it's a little bit easier, but I guess, but still, it's the way that the show genuinely still feels like it was back then. So, the Vaudevillains attack the New Day. They destroy the time machine, which in turn destroys the space-time continuum. It is broken. We need Neville to rotate in the air at 88 miles an hour to repair the timeline. That's the only way that can happen.
Yeah, I mean, they just completely fucked everything up.
Yeah.
Like, did they not think about the consequences of their actions?
Yeah, now we're going to have another 10 years of John Cena.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are they thinking of? What were they thinking of? God damn
They
it.
weren't fucking thinking. That's what's wrong with them.
It's what happens when you use a time machine irresponsibly, okay? You know?
Where's Doc when you need him?
Where is he? Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's not his fucking fault.
This was a bonkers segment. All I have to say is I want to know which New Day member stole Stephanie's secret stash. One of them was in a different world, let's just say that, when they were doing this segment. So there we go. Gallows and Anderson versus the Usos again. And I put that, the reason being is because it seems like these guys only ever fight each other. It's getting a little bit dated already. Getting a bit worn out of these guys wrestling each other. I would like to see them wrestle other people. All Gallows and Anderson have fought so far is the Usos. All the Usos have done since then has fight Gallows and Anderson. And it's getting a little bit old already. I mean, Gallows and Anderson haven't been around for that long, right? They made a debut probably just over a month ago now. So Roman Reigns is talking about preserving his bloodline, that his bloodline is stronger than everything, right?
Yeah, it's the bloodline versus the club.
Yeah, that's what he's getting at there.
Yeah. That was so confusing for me.
Okay.
I sat there and I turned to you and I was like, is he fucking Draco Malfoy? Like, is he separating the pure bloods from the bad blood?
Yeah.
I'm so confused. Like, isn't this how Hitler got started?
Yeah.
He wants to keep the
He wants to
bloodline.
preserve the bloodline.
Yeah.
Invade
like-
Poland.
What the fuck? Is he Voldemort?
This is how it all starts. You know, this is his heel
It
turn.
is.
He's going to go more heel than we ever thought. He's going to start going on
Donald
about.
Trump's going to latch on to him like a motherfucker.
I thought this was a good match, though. I thought it was a good match, as you would expect from two very accomplished tag teams. It just suffers from the fact that we've watched these guys wrestle and fight each other just far, far too much, in my opinion. The Usos get the victory, which causes Reigns to enter a brand new level of smugness. I'm a little bit worried about Gallows and Anderson, though. Now, I shouldn't be, after just one loss, and there's worse spots on the roster than being associated in the WWE Championship storyline, right? But I am. I am still a little bit worried. I'll leave it at that, and I won't go too far. I won't blow up and be like, oh, what are they doing? They're fucking burying them. No, we're not at that point. But I am worried, and I'll leave it at that until other things transpire. Styles goes to hit Reigns with a chair, but Reigns takes him out, which leads to the crowd booing him. Gallows and Anderson cause a distraction, though, and Styles then hits him with a chair multiple times. And all I can think of is that if Reigns is going to wrestle Styles again, right?
Yeah.
It's the third time that they're dead set on getting this they're dead set on getting a 3-match program with these guys, which means that essentially what they're going to have is Reigns beat him, right? I'm like, people like Styles. He's the indie darling, right? He's the guy that the hardcore fans fucking love, right? Having him beat Styles 3 times in 3 months, that's not helping the boos. That's not at all. It's going to fuel the boos.
Yeah.
And to a degree, I'm like,
unless they're trying to get Styles over for when he eventually wins.
I don't think he is that. I don't think that's their plan.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
I think that. And listen, people might say, well, would you rather them not wrestle? Yeah, I would love for them to wrestle. I would love for them to do this with Reigns as the heel. And then it makes sense for him to keep winning because he keeps getting the heat. People are hating him for beating AJ Styles.
Yeah.
That would help him. At the moment, it's counterproductive. So, but still. Big Cass versus Devon. Cass says he has a problem with the Dudleys. And then he carries out a promo here that proves to me, I think once and for all, that Enzo absolutely, for this team to be able to work long term, he has to be there speaking for the pair of them.
He tries.
He tries, yeah.
But he is not as good as Enzo.
No, he's no Enzo.
The few times I've watched Cass and Enzo, they're amazing.
Yeah.
Enzo's amazing on the microphone.
Yeah. Now, Cass isn't bad. However, this week, he was pretty shit. I will say that outright. This was a bad week for Cass on the mic. He's coming across as a little bit like he's a little bit nervous out there.
Yeah, you could tell that he isn't used to it.
Yeah.
He's a bit deer in the headlights. With
A little bit. Like, without Enzo there being in his safety net, He's almost like he's out of his comfort zone a little
He's
bit.
a strong and silent type.
He could, like I say, he still could do a decent promo. I just don't think it's working at the moment. That hopefully they get Enzo back sooner rather than later. And even if then, put Big Cass in matches and get him impressive wins, just don't make him talk that much. That's completely fine. This match is over in 2 minutes tops. There was a lot of matches like this that ended so quickly. It was a bit of a shame.
I thought all the matches in this whole
show.
episode, yeah.
With Cass dealing with both of the Dudleys here with very little problem, there's not really much point in extending this feud to involve Enzo when he comes back, really, because this was a non-match and Cass was on his own. So why would you have a match with Enzo? A tag team match with Enzo.
Yeah, I pointed out to you the match was over before his hair had even dried.
Yeah, right. So there we are. Kalisto versus Del Rio. Talking about a guy's hair drying. You hate this. You hate Del Rio.
I hate Del Rio's hair. It comes out and it looks good, and when he leaves, it's just like
it just like explodes.
It explodes and it looks weird. I focus on weird things.
At this point in the show, though, I mean, you were pretty burnt out. Let's be honest. So, and this is at the end of the show now. This is at the end of the.
You were like, "There's just 30 minutes left." Yeah. And I thought, no, how can there be 30 minutes left?
Now, Kalisto was so excited that he was actually being shown on Raw this week that he lost his footing when he came out.
He did. He really just shot out behind the curtain.
Yeah, he lost his footing. The power of Sin Cara rings true after all. Botch Cara lives on. Botch Cara lives on. Word is, in the grapevine, that Del Rio apparently is not very happy with how he's being used by WWE. I'd like to remind him of how he was used at the end of his first WWE run, and I would have to say, how could you have expected anything different from the last time? They eventually ran out of ideas for you, and they ran out of ideas for you again. It's not as if they have anything else for you.
Yeah.
Del Rio tries to rip off Kalisto's mask. I'm like, some of that Lucha Underground is still in Del Rio. Still in there. Hopefully he comes back at some point. The match is quite long, although to a certain point it petered out quite a bit. I think the fans even died out. I mean, it's at the end of 3 hours. Yeah. People are burnt out at this point anyway. Rusev drags Sin Cara to the outside to cause a distraction, which gives Del Rio the chance to win with a proper savage backstabber. I mean, he fucking flipped Kalisto inside and out with that. He flying everywhere with it. He really hit it.
I was just very confused though, because Sin Cara got attacked in the back, and then he was just dragged off quite ominously.
Yeah.
Was he going to murder him? The camera went off. I didn't know where he went. I thought he was dead. And then Lana's walking behind like a porn star. I was like, what the fuck is going to happen to Sin Cara? Is he just going to have some weird shit happen to him? Nobody knows. And it seemed nobody cared.
Yeah, nobody gave a shit. Yeah.
It didn't distract Kalisto.
Well, it did. It distracted him, but no one else cared.
It only distracted him when he was on the apron.
Yeah.
When it was happening on the screen, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Del Rio made him watch.
Yeah, that was good. I like that bit, yeah. When he was getting attacked in the interview area, yeah. So,
but it didn't. Yeah, I was. You don't want to know what was going through my head.
I will say though, what was quite good with this is that with Rusev attacking him afterwards, him getting that talk on the Accolade, he really bent him right.
That was scary looking.
Yeah, it was quite a visual. And listen, with Del Rio beating Kalisto, technically he should be in line for a title shot, right? Because he beat the champion. I don't want to see any more Del Rio versus Kalisto. They had 7 matches in the series, and I was like, I don't want any part of this. And Rusev, I think he's the right guy to go for this at the moment. Listen, Kalisto's title run has been a dud. I'm just going to say that right now. When he won the championship, it wasn't like it would. WWE didn't treat it like a big deal. He's been put on pre-shows constantly. He's barely made it on Raw most weeks.
Yeah.
I feel really sad for the guy because I honestly think that Kalisto is a really good talent. He's clearly a good wrestler. Fucking shit talker, but he's a great wrestler. This title run, unfortunately for him, is going to end up being quite forgettable for everyone else. But that's just the way that the cookie crumbles, I guess. Shane and Stephanie are out for the contract signing for the Women's Championship. Ric Flair is the first to come out. He introduced fucking hell. At the end of the podcast, my tongue's getting tired. He introduces his daughter Charlotte. Natalia comes down. She's a fucking awful speaker as well. You said this even. I
No,
didn't
she
promise.
sounds like she might have braces or something. She was like her S is a bit.
Yeah, I think that's just how she speaks. Where she comes
No,
across.
when I've seen her on the Total Divas and stuff, she speaks quite normally. On this, she was over enunciating every single word. Like she was terrified she was going to slip up.
Yeah.
So I think that she might have had work done or braces or something because she wasn't speaking properly and she was making a real go at trying to pronounce everything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's one of those things with her. I just can't get over how she just comes off so rehearsed. It comes across as so I can't think of the word. Yeah, it's like I can't think of the word for it, but yeah, that's basically what it is.
It's the sing-song voices, you know, when you hear people on the radio and they're like, "Gee whiz, I went and I got this.
Yeah,
it made my life so much better."
Yeah,
yes, the sing-song.
Yeah, it's the
forced.
That I just don't like it, but fair enough. She's there, and she's a good wrestler.
Charlotte's really good.
Charlotte's much better. Yeah, she is much better. She says that the Charlotte NXT. This is Natty saying that the Charlotte NXT beat her without her dad, Ric Flair, at ringside. I'm like, I know it was a while ago, but Ric Flair was actually at ringside for that match. So was Bret Hart. So, yeah. Did you forget that? Charlotte says that all these people are her people from being from the Carolinas, right? She could punch all their best friends in the face and we'd still worship the ground that she walks on. I'm willing to test that theory, so Charlotte, you have my free reign to go punch my co-host, Matt.
I hope she does.
Yeah?
Finds him in the woods, you know? Comes to him tonight.
Yeah, just randomly, for no reason, he has no idea. He's just there sleeping, suddenly Charlotte, just bam! Tony told me to do this. And he'd be like, what? But still. Shane reiterates the stipulation that if Rick comes down to the ring in the pay-per-view match, then the title will change hands. He calls down security to eject him out, but Ric Flair doesn't like that. He starts taking off his jacket, right?
Yeah, he just I could see liver spots on his hands. He looked so old.
I think one of the things with you is that you've been watching Camp WWE with me, and the way they based him was on the very youthful Ric Flair, right?
He's got
the long hair and everything.
Even how he was talking, I studied this year to be a care assistant. And I spent some time in a nursing home. And I'm looking at Rick and I'm thinking, he's going to break a hip. He needs a Zimmer frame. He needs somebody to take care of him. He's old and he's fragile.
I think he's in good shape.
He looks
someone
quite
who's
confused.
done the body of work that he's done. But
I feel like he's, there are people out there that just grab their old folks from a nursing home and bring them out places to get discounts. Charlotte's
she's done that. Yeah,
she's just like, come on, Dad, remember you like WWE. Let's go on a day trip. He doesn't actually know where he is. He thinks that he's going for lunch. And then all of a sudden, he's got Shane in his face, and he's all like, come at me, bro. Yeah, he doesn't know where he is.
He's thinking that it's like back in the days that he's fighting Dusty Rhodes again.
That's it. He doesn't know where he is. That's the whole impression I got off it. And then the poor guy got slapped in the fucking face.
He did. He got clocked. No, it was him that got clocked by Steph.
She said, Shane, you might have respect for him, but I sure as hell don't.
Yeah. Now
she did her finisher on him.
Now, the whole finisher thing, Batista had the best comeback to that. It was so good. If he really wanted to piss her off, though, Ric Flair, then what he should have done is just put his hand up in her face like Dusty did ages ago. Because according to the rumors of that, apparently that really pissed her off. So
I get
quite
that.
a while back. The thing is, though, I mean, she basically shit-canned him, and he was doing it as part of a thing. He really got over the fact that they didn't like each other, right? So she made it personal when it's a storyline, right? And why would you make it personal?
Yeah, but you're human at the end of the day.
Are you really absolving her from that? I think that's being uber unprofessional. Really unprofessional. But still. It's a shame how I will say, however, it's a shame how that this is the ending segment to Raw.
Yeah.
Contract signing. This is the last segment you're going to see before Extreme Rules. And I like the fact they gave it to the women. But then it ended up just being a Steph versus Rick thing at the end.
I really thought people should phone Age Action Ireland. I thought, here's an elder abuse case if I ever saw one.
But Charlotte is locked into the sharpshooter to end the show. Charlotte tapping out. And then she no-sold the move as soon as she got out of the ring, which I thought was a bit odd.
Yeah.
She was
there
like
was no limping.
Yeah, it was nothing at all, but still. Yeah, I disliked how it just ended up being a Steph versus Rick thing rather than selling the actual match of...
I did like Natty putting her into the sharpshooter and then having the belt at the end of it.
Yeah.
But Charlotte kept being like, give me back the belt while walking away.
I tell you what it felt like to me. It felt like they're setting up a storyline down the line that doesn't involve Natty. She's an afterthought. And I think that's a bit of a shame, but still.
Yeah.
There we are. So your thoughts. That was the end of the show this week. Your thoughts on Raw.
I was very confused.
Okay.
By a lot of things that happened in the show. It baffled me. I was a bit scared. There was a lot of really short matches.
There wasn't one match that really stood out, was there?
Don't feel like I saw a lot of wrestling.
On a 3-hour Raw, that's pretty...
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of wrestling where I could say, wow, like, they're athletes, you know?
Yeah.
And even some of the promos and the mics and things like that, the segments, they didn't make any sense.
They didn't leave much of a lasting
impact. Nothing gelled.
Yeah. Did it sell the pay-per-view to you? Were you more amped up for watching the pay-per-view?
I honestly didn't know there was a pay-per-view. I didn't know the pay-per-view was this close. Like, obviously I knew there were contracts signing for a match.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything about a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Completely tuned it out.
Well, 3 hours is long.
It felt like they were like building up for the next Raw or the next show. Like, I remember pay-per-views being the fucking big thing. Like, see me trying to figure out how to record on the VCR, set the timer, and making sure I had tapes ready, and just waiting to come home after school so that I could watch it. Like, that anticipation.
Yeah.
Like, it was fucking Christmas. No, none of that.
Yeah. I mean, obviously wrestling isn't as hot nowadays as it is back then. You know,
yeah, but you imagine in the eyes of a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
This is how they should feel, and I don't think they do.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. Personally, my thoughts is a bit more critical on it. I wasn't much of a fan. I think there was a lot of non-matches. I think overall pretty poor. For a go-home show, did I think it is sold? I think they tried to give every match at least a little bit of time. They have to be commended for that. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make me hugely excited for... The only thing that I thought really did well and sold their match well was Jericho and Ambrose.
Yeah.
I think they did pretty well.
Well, they're both really good on the mic. They're both really good at their rivalry.
Yeah, they play their roles fairly well. In my rating, I'm going to put this as a skip it. I think you put it as a skip it as well, for the both of us. I think that's very damning coming from a very passing wrestling fan. Someone that you haven't watched in a while. This was WWE's chance to get you back re-involved in the show, and it didn't resonate.
I have to say, though, and I said this to you at the end of it, I do feel like that I might want to watch the pay-per-view, or I might want to watch next week's Raw, because I feel like it could get better.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe that's the hook. You know, you're kind of always waiting for it to get better.
Yeah. All right, then. Let's do our predictions so we can get the hell out of here.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I live here, so I know what the fuck you're going to do.
I'm out. Okay, so Extreme Rules predictions. Leave your predictions down in the comment section below if you think you can beat us this week. The pre-show, Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin. You didn't even see Baron Corbin this week because they weren't even on Raw. So
their picture flashed up.
Yeah.
He's going bald.
So I'll ask you, who do you think will win? Like I don't expect you to have a good reason, but go on, who do you think will win?
I'm guessing Baron Corbin.
I'm going to go Corbin as well.
Because he's newer, I think he's a bit fresher.
Yeah, that's my thought track on it there.
I'm trying to build him.
And I think that, I will say, though, since WrestleMania, I think it's been an awful 2 months for Corbin. I think the way he's been used has been very lackadaisical, and I'm not a big fan of it.
Word.
But that's the bottom line of it. Let's get into the matches that you will know, because obviously they promoted them more on Raw. The Usos versus the Club again.
Oh my god!
So they're doing it again. They had it on Raw. Bearing in mind that I think the first match I think that the Club had was against the Usos.
Yeah.
So they've already wrestled each other on Raw twice. This match is completely and utterly redundant. It has no consequences about who wins it, because, I mean, the first two matches didn't. I'm going to go with the Club to get the win, because I think they need it more. I think they and me, like I said earlier on, I'm a little bit worried about them. Who do you think's coming out though? Who do you think's winning this?
I reckon they're going to do the Usos, and they're going to have Reigns.
Reigns
the
and
whole
Usos.
bloodline thing.
Hein Reigns.
Yeah, they need their own fucking the medallions. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
they're probably going to come out in chariots. Yeah, I would be super fucking impressed if they came out in chariots.
I don't think they would want to use that much money on it personally, but there you go. That would be interesting if they came out with chariots, jeez, with actual horses.
Yeah, I'd be super fucking impressed, and I'd fucking cheer for him.
Ambrose versus Jericho in the first ever Asylum match. Who do you think's winning this one?
I think Ambrose, just because he looks like he's been in an asylum.
Really?
He looks like that's his fucking home.
Yeah. I think Ambrose gets this because I think this ends the feud. And I think I've been saying before that I think Jericho's going to go on his regular sabbatical soon. Like, he's been on a long run with
I feel
WWE.
like he's passing a torch a bit.
Not only that, like, he does this. He comes in for 5-6 months, and then he goes away for 5-6 months. And he's been on a long run with WWE now. So I'm expecting his break to happen soon, and I think it's going to happen. But I think Ambrose gets the win on this one. Miz versus Owens versus Cesaro versus Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship. Who do you see winning the IC title?
Big Dick Cesaro.
Big Dick Cesaro, yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know. I don't like Miz that much. I feel like I'd love to have a drink with Owens. Really like Cesaro. I fucking love Sami Zayn.
Yeah. I'm going to say something, and I think The Miz will retain here. And the reason I think that is because, one, it keeps the storyline going. And two, it's not the first time they've done this with Miz, that he makes the most of the chaos, jumps in, steals the victory, and you've got three guys that people would much rather see the belt on, but he's the one getting the heat. He's the one clutching the title, getting away. I got away with it again.
Quite opportunistic.
Yeah. So I think that's what they're going to do with him. So I think Miz is going to retain. But you're going with Big Dick Cesaro.
Yeah.
That should be easy to give it, by the way.
That should be.
Kalisto versus Rusev for the United States Championship. Where do you see it going?
Rusev's fucking scary. I think he's going to break Kalisto.
I think he's going to win the title. Yeah.
Yeah, he pretty much bent him like a pretzel the other day.
He did. And I'll reiterate what I said before. I think Kalisto's title run has been so horribly used and promoted. It's a real shame. But, I look at it now. You give Rusev back the championship. You build back that heat he had when he had it for the first time.
Yeah.
I know it's redoing what I had before, but it's something, It's the way I look at it, but still. Yeah, Rusev to win the championship. Charlotte versus Natalya for the Women's Championship.
I feel like they're setting Natalya up to win.
You think Natalya's going to beat her and win?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. I disagree. I'm going to go with Charlotte to retain. And that's simply because I don't see the point in Natalya winning it. And the reason why I say that is Natalya is a face.
Yeah.
Right? I think the long-term match for them is to try and set up a SummerSlam match between Charlotte and Sasha Banks. That's why they've been keeping Sasha Banks off TV.
It's not to say Charlotte won't ever get it back. I just think that the way they've set it up with Natalya being robbed of the last match, and with nobody seeing her say "I quit," they're lining it up.
Do you think Natalya wins this? Do you think then Charlotte wins it back before SummerSlam from Natalya? That's a way of going about it. I wouldn't be so
revenge match. The way I see it.
The way I look at those, that it would be a much bigger thing if Sasha Banks beats Charlotte after a lengthy title reign, rather than her beating her just because she's the champion.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I go with Charlotte to win. But I can certainly see your point of view, and it would definitely keep the excitement up because they've still got quite a few months to fill before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
They can't just do that with Natalya, keep challenging for the title and losing. Like, they've got to do something with it. So there. The New Day versus the Vaudevillains for the Tag Team Championships. What do you think?
I can't. They both just assault my senses.
Well, maybe you can go back in the time machine, I got destroyed.
Now, New Day seem a bit better to watch, but the Vaudevillains...
I do like the New Day. I would say you got the New Day on a bad week.
They're the kind of people that I think I would just be like, shh, calm down. Stop throwing all this shit at me. The Vaudevillains just made no impression.
They didn't get much of a chance. They just attacked, though, didn't they? They didn't have any promo time or anything.
So I don't see them winning. I don't see the allure to them. Do
you think New Day retains the titles, then?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm going with New Day. And the reason I say that as well is I think that the Vaudevillains are going to have quite a troublesome couple of months after this. I think they're a stopgap team for New Day, and that's pretty much where I see it going. And I hope they do well. I do like the Vaudevillains. I'm not their biggest fan, but I do like them. But I think they've got rocky roads coming up. That's what I say with that. Then we go to the main event. Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles in an Extreme Rules match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I think this is the easiest one to call out of the entire show. Roman Reigns to retain his championship again, and he'll be booed for doing it. I will say, however, I think this is going to be a very, very good match.
I think it'll be a balls to the wall type of match,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Down and dirty, but I do think he will win.
I'm hugely in agreement with that. I think they're going to go all out. Reigns is still trying to make a statement because he's been so disliked by the crowd. And I think obviously Styles is a fantastic wrestler, so he'll get in that environment. I'm sure he can do quite a lot. But they've got their heart set on a Roman Reigns lengthy title run, and they've got their heart set on it. They want to establish him as a top talent, so they're not taking the title off him, and that's the way that I look at it here. And it's a shame because I think it would be quite interesting how Styles win that title, and it would be great for him. I'd be more interested. Imagine it this way. Imagine if Styles wins and the only way that Reigns can get the title back is by going heel. He screws Styles out of the title the next time that he wins it back. And that's what is his heel turn. But I will say, I don't think it's going to happen. I think WWE have got their heart set on just doing what they're doing with Reigns and weathering the storm. So I do think Roman Reigns retains. And you're going with that as well, are you?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well, that's our predictions. That's what we think. I think we're mostly the same apart from a few things here and there. I think the IC title match, Charlotte Natalia. Yeah. So that's the show. Yeah. Well done. You did very well this week.
Woohoo!
You did well. You
will I
answered
ever
the call
be
of duty.
invited back, I wonder?
I'm sure you will.
Well, your friends aren't used to people just talking about how hot the guys are, so...
Yeah.
Maybe they're into it, maybe they're not.
I'm sure some of the males are a little bit uncomfortable, but just have to get...
Yeah. But maybe they like me ragging on you because you pick on Matt a lot.
And he's been taken down a peg from time to time, so I'll take that. Yeah. I'll take that. So, all right then, guys, we'll go through all our plugs, and then we'll get the hell out of here. Of course, if you'd like to interact with us, the main way of doing that is via our Facebook page, facebook.com/Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. You had a bit of trouble dropping that Twitter handle at the start of the show. Do it again and drop it like it's hot.
At Talk Wrestle Pod.
You did it!
I fucking did it!
You did it! Together we made it. We made it even though we had our backs up against the wall.
We made it.
Of course, you can send us any audio questions or emails at Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. Or dick pics. Sure. Fine. Whatever.
Tony really likes nutscaping.
Nutscaping.
Google nutscaping. Tony lives for that. It's his desktop background.
What world are you opening these people up to?
Yeah. I'm a deviant. Let's put that out there. I'm into some weird shit.
Of course, yeah, you can send it to that email address. I'll plug it again. Let's talk wrestling podcast at gmail.com. That's the place to send it. Of course,
whatever you like.
If you did like
your
this
shopping list,
your
chain mail.
Yeah. No, fuck no. I fucking hate chain mail. I'll block you if you send me chain mail. I
sent a lot of memes telling them how sexy his voice was. You asked for that last week.
I did.
Did you get any other ones? No. Yeah, I'm so disappointed. I just flooded him with "you've got a sexy voice" memes.
If you guys, like I said, if you enjoyed it, then you can leave a like. That would really help us out. You can leave in any comments and
if
questions.
You missed Matt, let him know.
Yeah, let him know. Bring back Matt if you really, really enjoyed Matt. And tell you what, give Stacey a bit of love. If you enjoyed her this week, then give her a little bit of love. She was a little bit nervous this week.
We might have a bit of a competition between me and Matt.
Give her a little bit of love, though. You were a bit. Let's be honest now. It's at the end of the show. You were a little bit nervous this week.
I was.
You're worried that maybe they wouldn't take to you very well, but
yeah.
I'm sure that we've got nice fans.
You do have nice fans.
You do.
They're your fans. But they get a lot of happy birthdays, so really, thank you so much for that.
Yeah. All right, guys. I hope you had a great week. I hope you enjoyed this very unique episode. This won't happen very often, so I hope you enjoyed it a little bit different here on the Let's Talk Wrestling Podcast. I hope you have a great week. I'll catch you next week for the Lucha review and obviously the pay-per-view review, and Matt coming back obviously for the weekly episode. A lot of stuff. How he got on the woods. Yeah, I want to know if Charlotte punched him in the face or not. That would be interesting. But thanks a lot, guys, and we'll catch you all next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.